हेलो एंड वेलकम टू द पॉडकास्ट अगेन। मेरे साथ आज फिर से हैं गौतम। गौतम, वेलकम टू द पॉडकास्ट।
थैंक यू।
तो गौतम, आजकल पिछला पॉडकास्ट भी हमने किया था, इट वाज अबाउट डिजिटल क्या है। अगेन वी विल डीप डाउन इनटू सम ऑफ दोज टॉपिक्स एज वी प्रोग्रेस इन आवर पॉडकास्ट जर्नी। बट आज के लिए मैं एक और टॉपिक लाया हूँ, अगेन टू डू विद डिजिटल, बट slightly on periphery of what things are, as opposed to going deeper into each vertical. So मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन है आज के लिए कि ये डिजिटल नेटिव क्या है? uh, are we talking about digitally native business, or is it different kind of people who are more digital as an adjective to their quality of being?
Yeah, so digital native, basically, I look at it in two dimensions.
Mhm.
One is the dimension on companies and firms, basically. The firms who basically started in the internet era, जब इंटरनेट आया, एंड ऑब्वियसली इसमें आप सबसे पॉपुलर कंपनी जो है अमेजन की बात हम करेंगे, विच स्टार्टेड एज अ डिजिटल नेटिव बेसिकली, क्योंकि वो आए ही इंटरनेट बिजनेस बन के.
Mhm.
That is one dimension. And the second dimension is there are some children जो बड़े हो रहे हैं
Mhm.
basically, who are born after maybe around 2000. आप मान सकते हैं इनको मिलेनियम, जेन वाई, जेन जी, जो भी आप कहें, मार्केटर लोग इनको सेगमेंट करते रहते हैं, बट मैं नहीं करूँगा.
Mhm.
बट इनमें से भी बहुत सारे नेटिव डिजिटल लोग हैं जो अब बड़े हो गए हैं, जिन्होंने अपनी लाइफ देखी नहीं बिना स्मार्टफोन के. फॉर एग्जाम्पल,
Mhm.
there are a lot of kids who are growing up like that. So I call them also digital natives, basically. Not people like me who have seen the world just when there was no smartphones, the internet was not there, basically. But there is a different type of people who have not seen that world. So they are also digital natives for me. So digital
So,
born
so
and
they are
born.
digital natives and we are digital converted. Would you say?
Sort of. We are the early adopters of digital, I would say,
Mhm.
basically.
I guess a bit of our background has helped us kind of exploring those digital things. I know quite a few people in my family who are still afraid of doing internet banking on their phone. Uh, you know, all
So
sorts of people. Yeah. So, तो क्या है ये digital native companies, organizations? Are these the ones who first came on internet and then probably had more, real world presence?
So there are two ways of looking at it.
Hmm.
One is the type of businesses who exist because of the internet. अगर इंटरनेट नहीं होता तो एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करते.
Mm-hmm.
और इसलिए मैं वो अमेजन, वो बड़ा ही फैंग वो बोल देते हैं
Mm-hmm.
कि फेसबुक, अमेजन, एप्पल, नेटफ्लिक्स, गूगल, मुश्किल है ऐसा कहना, कुछ बिजनेसेस शायद रहते इवन विदाउट इंटरनेट इनमें से, बट प्राइमरली दे आर इंटरनेट बिजनेसेस. कि ये इंटरनेट मान लीजिए नहीं होता तो ये बिजनेस मॉडल ही सक्सीड नहीं करता,
Okay.
basically. And then there are some other businesses who basically, it's very difficult to categorize them,
Mm.
जो कि established business आप कह सकते हैं.
Mm.
They cannot be actually categorized as digital native, although now they are using the internet for their business, but they are not born in that era.
Mm.
वो थोड़ा मजबूरी में आना पड़ा उनको, शुरू में मजबूरी में, बट अब उन्हें मजा आ रहा है.
Mm. नेट
यहाँ
नेटफ्लिक्स को किस कैटेगरी में रखते हैं?
नेटफ्लिक्स तो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है कि उन्होंने अपने आप, अच्छा सवाल है एक्चुअली,
Mm.
बिकॉज नेटफ्लिक्स तो वो डीवीडी बांटने से शुरू हुआ था कि दे
Mm.
डिसरप्टेड वन बिजनेस, ब्लॉकबस्टर,
Mm-hmm.
जिसमें कि आप जाके you used to rent CDs and DVDs or video cassettes. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
they moved from video cassettes to also renting CDs, DVDs.
Mm.
Netflix was posting those CDs and DVDs.
Mm.
But then again, the digital native people that I was talking about, let's say in India,
Mm.
they must have never seen a Netflix which was posting DVDs or CDs.
Mm.
when I used to live in US, I have used that Netflix subscription of 3 DVDs were allowed basically
Yeah.
at one time, and you had to post it back basically
Hmm.
for free. But instantly they were also doing those online movies. They were
Hmm.
just waiting for the internet speeds to get better effectively.
Hmm.
So I would classify them as a digital native. Um,
Converted and then became the high priest of the native organization.
yes, definitely.
All right. Um, so I very well explained कि digital native क्या है. Uh, so why do you think out of so many digital native organizations, Amazon has become a benchmark for literally every organization, whether digital native or kind of trying to catch on with the rest of the world?
Absolutely, because Amazon, which started by just selling, let's say, some books, uh, became like the poster child for e-commerce effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say e-commerce, because they started selling books online, then they moved into multiple product categories, then they moved into services, then they moved into so many businesses. So the any business that they went into, they disrupted that business itself.
Mm-hmm.
जैसे शुरू में जब बुक्स बेचना शुरू किया तो बुक्स शॉप्स की प्रॉब्लम हो गई बिकॉज लोगों को आसानी से बुक्स मिलने लगे इंटरनेट पे ऑल्दो बुक शॉप्स अभी रिवाइव कर रहे हैं एंड वील कम टू दैट मैटर बाय द वे
Mm-hmm.
that eventually you're a business of something rather than just an internet business because it's not good enough to be just an internet business. However, Amazon showed is coming as a benchmark, and I can also plug in a little bit of my research over here. In
Mm-hmm.
my research, I have been interviewing so many people, and most of the people, I had to create a separate category of um, insights, which was just about Amazon as a benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon as a benchmark in fulfillment कि मैं आज प्रोडक्ट डालता हूँ ऑर्डर करता हूँ कल आ जाता है फॉर एग्जांपल और बिल्कुल आता है नहीं तो सर्विस बहुत अच्छी है अगर नहीं भी
Mm-hmm.
आता है दे रियली गिव यू रिफंड्स रिटर्न्स वगैरह नो क्वेश्चंस आस्क्ड टाइप
Mm-hmm.
के हैं जो देखा जाए तो रिटेलर्स इतने प्रॉम्प्ट नहीं थे टू
Mm-hmm.
डू प्रोवाइड दैट टाइप ऑफ सर्विस
Mm-hmm.
Amazon एज बेंचमार्क आ जाता है फॉर प्राइम लॉयल्टी में बेसिकली कि वह कोई पैसे नहीं चार्ज कर पा रहा अपने कस्टमर से कि मुझे साल भर के आप इन यूके द प्राइसेस आर अराउंड 99 पाउंड्स कि आप इतने पैसे दो बेसिकली फॉर दैट लॉयल्टी फॉर दैट नेक्स्ट डे डिलीवरी जो अमेजन प्राइम
Yep.
वाली है
Mm-hmm.
so which is very very interesting they are a benchmark for that as well because actually I'm going to talk about loyalty which another with some of the senior stakeholders next week and usme I'm putting Amazon is there on that list as a benchmark Amazon is a benchmark for um, you know the fact that not that आपको बहुत सुंदर वेबसाइट नहीं बनानी है उनकी वेबसाइट देखिए बड़ी प्रिटी नहीं है
Mm-hmm.
बेसिकली इसके लिए भी वो बेंचमार्क है कि अगर इफ यू कैन प्रोवाइड अ बेटर सर्विस इफ यू कैन प्रोवाइड रेलेवेंट स्टफ फॉर द कस्टमर्स वो आपके पास आएंगे
True.
तो
True.
इसलिए अमेजन तो एक अपने आप में एक स्टोरी और स्टडी है डिजिटल नेटिव्स में आई वुड से
Yeah. Uh, I think you have beautifully put it because when I think of these optimizations, this पहले तो again people watching this have to forgive me. My background is slightly more business, although हम लोग मैं और गौतम एक क्लास में पढ़े computer science, मगर I think we took slightly different road. तो when I think in terms of that digital outcomes, मुझे लगता है Apple भी एक fantastic story है. Apple works with negative working capital. उनका free cash is fantastic. Look at the balance sheet, it's amazing. उनकी सारी चीज़ें behind the scenes हैं और उनके पास 3 दिन से ज़्यादा की इन्वेंट्री नहीं होती है कभी भी. And if I look at Amazon's business model, which was again primarily set off as a negative working capital business, but what they have achieved as a standard, whether it is about microservices that they use within their systems, whether it's how they fire up additional servers and stuff like that, especially in the technical side of things, I think it is just phenomenal.
Absolutely. And one interesting example that I keep giving is their predictive abilities. जो हमें पता नहीं चलता एज कस्टमर्स, जो अमेजन यूज अ लॉट बाय द वे,
Mm-hmm.
दे आर एक्चुअली एबल टू प्रेडिक्ट कि आप क्या ऑर्डर करने वाले हैं,
Mm-hmm.
और वो अपने जो सबसे पास के वेयर हाउस में वहाँ पे वो पहुँचा देते हैं पहले से ही. Basically, of course, this is not like 100% prediction, but they predict well, basically, that what's going to happen, and that is why they are also able to fulfill those deliveries uh,
Absolutely.
much faster. So Amazon is a story on its own, to be honest, और इसीलिए वो benchmark है जो आपका, your question was
Mm-hmm.
very very valid in terms of Amazon, and that is why a lot of businesses learn from Amazon. They are not able to match it in all of the services, but at least if they can match it in some of the aspects, it is very very useful for the businesses.
Most of the businesses that are thriving today, भले ही वो एक आपका हाई स्ट्रीट का करी हाउस है या हाई एंड लैपटॉप मेकर्स हैं, what do you argue, every business today is an IT business, it's a digital business.
Yeah, that's actually a quote from one of the digital directors of one of the companies that I spoke to. He said
Mhm.
that every business is a technology business, they just don't know it.
They just don't know
So,
this. Exactly.
yeah. So,
and
and in
and
fact, I would love to invite him someday on this podcast, because he will be an excellent person to talk about this part, as he's a very very good technologist basically.
yeah, I think I'll totally be looking forward. Let's invite anyone who can be helpful in kind of creating this podcast success in terms of knowledge and getting that technical mindset.
Yeah, of course. In fact, I would like to add one more thing on this. Every business is a technology business is just half of the story, though,
Mm-hmm.
because eventually you're still in the business of business.
Mm.
The objective of business, and especially because we are talking about a commercial business over here, I
Mm-hmm.
can go into other types of businesses as well, or other types of organizational settings as well, which
Mm-hmm.
can be charities, etc., but I'll go that for that later.
Mm-hmm.
But commercial business is in the business of business, which is to make money, make profit, so that they can deliver value to their customers, their shareholders, their employees.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the setup is about. And that is why when we say, let's say, a business like, let's say, Airbnb,
Mm-hmm.
for example, it's also a digital native
Yeah.
internet age business, basically. But why are they now caring so much about the type of accommodation, basically, that people are going to go in? Although they never claim that these accommodations are there, they are just a platform, they're just a technology platform who, for a fee, are bringing people who have spare spaces with people who want to go
Yeah.
and visit a place on one place,
Mm-hmm.
basically. But then why is Airbnb trying to make those experiences better from the provider's perspective? Because whether they like it or not, they are actually in the hospitality business,
Mm.
basically. uh, yes, they have started as a technology player, and they have a huge market share, but eventually they still are in the hospitality business, as per me, and they have to think that way.
Yeah. I remember our discussion from one of our previous podcasts. Adjective. डिजिटल एक एडजेक्टिव है. मैं एक डिजिटल हॉस्पिटैलिटी प्लेटफॉर्म हूँ. मैं एक डिजिटली रन करी हाउस हूँ या आई डोंट नो. But the key thing is the business you are in, you still have to do that. Uh, so there is no getting away from it. But then
Absolutely.
क्या you would say कि आज हम उस टाइम में आ गए हैं जहाँ पे pretty much all startups are digitally native.
Mm-hmm.
And अगर ऐसा है तो क्या all the lessons learned या जो experience traditional businesses ने उसी, let's say, we can talk about retail, Amazon and let's say Debenhams in question is a fantastic example here. तो क्या इन digitally native कंपनीज को boohoo.com को कुछ सीखने की जरूरत है एक
uh,
next.com से?
of course. I mean, um, the first thing, we back to the same thing. You're in the business of business, not because वेबसाइट तो कोई भी खोल सकता है, राइट? या कोई ऐप कोई भी बना सकता है, या किसी प्लेटफॉर्म पे कोई भी अपने आप को इस्टेब्लिश कर सकता है, बिकॉज ऑफ रिमेंबर दैट देयर आर आल्सो सम बिजनेसेस हु जस्ट प्लग इनटू these platforms and marketplaces
Mm-hmm.
like Etsy, etc., or even Amazon. There are so many successful businesses on Amazon, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
who just sell through Amazon. They don't have any other channel. They are just selling through Amazon. They are using Amazon services as well to fulfill. Uh, by the way, sometimes worried that Amazon might take their business over, but that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with the fact that today any startup that comes basically is a digital native, and not digital native because now they are on just the internet uh, platform, or they are able to provide their services on the internet because they have to provide their services on the internet, but because they have a well established, sorry to use the prefix again, digital foundation, जिस पे वो अपने बिजनेस को खड़ा कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि अभी एक बिजनेस स्टार्ट करना बहुत ही ज़्यादा आसान है on with the availability of technology,
Mm-hmm.
like Amazon, etc., who can provide the cloud and the tools available so that you can start your business in a much faster way. However, the real distinction, that is why, will come in what you're actually trying to do. If you're in retail, then what is your differentiator? Those things are not going to change. उसके लिए आप 1980s की कोई भी strategy की book पढ़ सकते हैं, वो नहीं बदला है
Mm-hmm.
कि जो भी वो पुराने स्ट्रैटेजी के फ्रेमवर्क्स हैं, एक वेरी सो मॉडल है कि क्या वैल्यू देते हैं, क्या रिसोर्सेज हैं आपके पास उस टाइप के, वो ज़्यादा नहीं बदले हैं. टू बी ऑनेस्ट, द बेसिक्स हैव नॉट चेंज too much. How much ever the consultants would like to tell you that no, in this new world you have to have new thinking. Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
have to have a different mindset, basically
Yeah.
the tech
Mm-hmm.
mindset,
Yeah.
but you don't really need to have too much new thinking in terms of the business strategy, but you need to have the mindset to apply these new technologies which are available, basically, so that you can compete with the other players or find a differentiating business, basically.
That is true. In terms of value, like you said, the what of business has still not changed. It's the how of business that has substantially changed. How you're going to execute those strategies in the new world, which is more digitally enabled. Uh, but if you are in a business of hospitality, you can't ignore that.
No, बिल्कुल. I'll give you the, ये आप ये देख लीजिए, ये
Apple Pods.
एप्पल के ईयरफोन्स
Mm-hmm.
हैं बेसिकली. अगर आपको एक ईयरफोन बिजनेस बनाना है, कि आपको एक कुछ नया ईयरफोन बिजनेस
Mm-hmm.
बनाना है, और बाय द वे सक्सेसफुल रहा है, जिसको एप्पल ने खरीदा है, कंपनी बीट्स को फॉर
Mm-hmm.
एग्जांपल,
Mm-hmm.
उनके लिए व्हाट इज़ इम्पोर्टेंट, कोई चीज़ डिफरेंट नहीं थी उनको प्रोडक्ट बनाने में, उनका डिज़ाइन करने में, उनकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सप्लाई चेन, नॉट मच ऑफ दैट चेंज्ड.
Mm-hmm.
बट the biggest thing that really changed in terms of the digital native way of working is they had to think how they will sell it. वो ये नहीं कर सकते थे कि मैं बीट्स के 1000 स्टोर खोल दूं और वहाँ बिकेगा.
Mm-hmm.
तो शायद 1980s में ऐसा करना पड़ता कि या तो 1000 स्टोर खोलें, या रिलायंस, वॉलमार्ट, टेस्को, इन पे जाके बेचें उनको, जो उन्होंने किया बेसिकली. सो वो नहीं बदलने वाला है basically from a business perspective. But the application of the internet technologies, that is very important for businesses to succeed.
Understood. Brilliant. Or as the name of the podcast goes, the tech mindset. What should be our mindset to succeed in, let's say, this digital native uh, uh, led companies, startups? How do people navigate this scene?
Like, first of all, again, to the type of people, क्योंकि दो टाइप ऑफ लोग हैं, हमने एक तरह से बोल दिया है विदाउट सेइंग जेन एक्स, जेन वाई, जेन जी, कि जो खुद डिजिटल नेटिव हैं वो तो इसको अच्छे से समझते हैं. इन अ वे द इंटरनेट एरा में ही दे आर बोर्न, so they understand this very well. However, the rapid pace of change जिससे टेक्नोलॉजी बदल रही है, जैसे भी रिसेंटली आप हमारा पॉडकास्ट देखे, GPT-4 आ गया, या पीछे ब्लॉकचेन आया था, फिर हमने क्वांटम वगैरह की भी बात करी थी उस पॉडकास्ट में। तो ये जो पेस ऑफ चेंज है, यू हैव टू बी इन स्टेप विद इट बेसिक, दैट इज व्हाट इज मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट. In terms of career options, you have lot of options now available. Basically जैसे वो जो startup ecosystem है, established businesses हैं, it is always good to have different types of experiences to find out कि ये इन companies में क्या होता है. जो company वो साबुन की टिकिया बना रही है, वो कैसे अभी भी काम करती है, वो भी जानना ज़रूरी है, कंपेयर टू जो कंपनी एक एयरबीएनबी का प्लेटफॉर्म लेट्स से, या ओयो रूम्स जो फॉर एग्जांपल है, वो कैसे ऑपरेट करती है बेसिकली एज अ प्लेटफॉर्म बिजनेस, एंड जो एक कोर बिजनेस है, एस्टैब्लिश बिजनेस, वो कैसे ऑपरेट करती है, और एक जो हाइब्रिड टाइप के बिजनेस हैं जो लेट्स से बीट्स का वो ईयरफोन बना रहे हैं, तो वो कैसे अपने आप को प्लेटफॉर्म या मार्केट प्लेस पे बेचते हैं. More experience you gain about those businesses, the better for you. That is how we all learn basically.
But if, let's say, somebody who has already been in the tech world, or even let's say retail, right? Should they venture into, let's say, a new digital store or a startup company, just to kind of, get into that, digital first mindset?
Yes, it will definitely be useful. I'll in fact use the example of fintechs. For example, fintechs में जो tech mindset चाहिए था, core banking या retail banking के लोगों के पास नहीं था, and that is why that actually needed new thinking, fresh thinking people. If you go to any fintech, especially यहाँ पे London का जो Silicon Roundabout है, जहाँ पर there are a lot of fintechs, and in fact my office was also sandwiched between couple of fintechs at one point in time. Monzo, Starling, Revolut, जितने ये हैं, उनके offices थे वहाँ पर. And I would see that there were a lot of young sort of digital native people working there, compared to when I used to work in some of the other banks, which I won't name, some of the established banks or established financial services providers, which had a totally different type of outlook and mindset in the old legacy conventional way of working. So definitely I would say the exposure to a nascent industry is always much better, because दुनिया वहीं जाने वाली है, to be honest. अगर आप एक किसी पुराने बैंक में चले गए आज की डेट में as a tech person, you will learn something very good. By the way, you will learn regulation, you will learn processes, you will learn those things for sure. कहीं पे भी लर्निंग बुरी नहीं जाती है, और जो आपको फिर फिनटेक में भी काम आएगा. इनफैक्ट अभी फिनटेक इज हायरिंग अ लॉट ऑफ people from the regulatory sector, because now that they're growing, they need to actually also apply the regulation. So basically, but unka mindset alag hai. So it's my advice basically to all the people will be कि don't look at the brand of the organization कि ये fintech है versus let's say legacy है. वो क्या काम कर रहे हैं, आप उनके लिए क्या value deliver करने वाले हो, and what value can they deliver to you in your learning, in your career. That is the most important thing on which to make the decision basically, because these are big organizations. There are a lot of type of things going on in such organizations, because big organizations also have big innovation arms where there is a lot of innovative thinking going on, a lot of playground to experiment is going on as well, under the cushion of those big organizations who have a lot of funding. So definitely you should think about what you will actually do over there, how you will add value, and how you will get value out of the organization.
True. I think one of the things that you just mentioned was अपने career में क्या चाहते हो. I think that in itself is such a black hole that we should talk about it sometime.
100%.
Magar, thank you very much, Gautam. It was quite informative podcast today. We touched upon digital native, which I think in future you will see a lot more digital native companies, as we are seeing that most of the old school companies either are transforming and kind of converting their mindset into a more digital first mindset. But thank you very much. We will have more such conversations in our next podcast.
Definitely. Thank you, Nimesh.
Thank you. Bye.